Hey, we appreciate you being with us on another episode of The Charging Station here at Bay Harbor Church of God. This is just a way for us in this podcast to hopefully provide you some encouragement and some inspiration as you continue on your Jesus journey. And we're in the middle of a segment that we entitle This Is Us. And it's really a beautiful time for me personally because I get to know even more some beautiful people that are part of our community of faith here, like Mary Gambrell. Mary, we're so grateful to have you on this episode.
Thanks, Pastor.
You almost are saying that like, thank you, Pastor.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for your willingness to serve. Let's give you a hand for that. So we're gonna get into this because we want to know. I am woman. Oh, I'm sorry, but we're wanting to get into a little bit about you because people see you and your husband, Pastor Lance, you guys serve in the Kid Men and all of that. They see you going by, they see you working with the kids, but some of them may not know you.
That's right.
And so our hope is over the next few moments that they will get to know a little bit more about you. And I've said this through this segment, and I feel it again during this episode, that sometimes we see you and we see that you have everything together, a mom in ministry, and then you're raising two boys, but everything seems to be going good. And I don't know that that's always the case, is it?
It's not. It is good. There's a lot of sweet moments, but there's a lot of behind the scenes that aren't so pretty.
Well, and with that, that's what I love about our church, is we are a church filled with real people.
Realness, yes.
And so,
real messes.
So many people, they made the mistake, not a mistake. They made the comment that, I don't know if I want to do this because I feel like I might be faking it.
Right.
Sometimes it's a matter of just faithing it. We go
point.
through life that way, and we do. We pull ourselves together, pull up our bootstraps, and just move on. And we're believing that something is going to come out of it. And so that's good. I'm excited about getting into this. First of all, I want to give a shout out to you in the midst of everything that's going on. You and Pastor Lance at the end of May, beginning of June, completed the MIP program.
Yes.
And so he's now an ordained minister in the Church of God. So tell us what that experience was like for you personally.
For me personally, it was good, challenging, very uncomfortable. One of the first things Pastor told us at the beginning of the starting MIP was get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And if that didn't resonate, I didn't think anything else was going to stick, but that stuck with me.
Yeah.
And one of our first meetings, he's good at throwing curveballs, in my opinion. So at the end of our first MIP meeting, he brings the microphone out. And it's not just for him anymore. It's for us. It's for, the candidates and the wives who are not getting credentials, but that are going along the journey with their husbands. And we had to speak for 2 minutes, but man, that felt like the longest 2 minutes of my life because you're speaking in a room full of strangers. We haven't gotten to know anybody yet.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. But you did it and you made it.
We made it. A 9-month process, but we're here.
I think it's pretty ironic that it's a 9-month process.
Yes.
Because at the end of it, it feels like you've given birth to something. And
something new is there.
Yeah, it's
yes.
good. And you know what, Mary? Just taking that for an example, that 2 minutes back in September of last year, whenever it was, and then here you are today, and just be real with everybody. Are you comfortable where you are right now?
Not comfortable at all. Our first time we were supposed to do this, it got canceled, and I can't say I wasn't excited. I was thrilled.
I know, but yet there's that willingness, there's that drive.
Yes. If I'm constantly comfortable, I know I won't grow.
Yeah.
So, and maybe there's something the one thing I can say, I was praying that the Lord would Lord, give me something that someone can take away from what we talk about today. Just something. As uncomfortable as other people may feel, I have gotten so much from listening from other people.
Yeah. Well, you guys are often in the Kid Men, but here, it's been several weeks ago now, just giving a talk, a sermon about our mission and vision statement. And the vision, of course, is to be a light shining forth, illuminating a dark world through the power of the Holy Spirit. But we do that by fulfilling the mission, and the mission starts with helping people.
Yes.
That is at the DNA of who we are as a congregation. And so that is your heart right there.
Yes.
Well, let's get into this. Enough of the small talk.
Okay.
Let's get to some good stuff. Tell me about your first experience at Bay Harbor, what it was like however
Mm.
many years ago when you first came here to be part of this congregation.
Okay. I came with my mom and dad, my brother and my sister, and a few other friends. But I was in middle school,
Oh,
and
wow. I
I
mean, well, not that's not that long ago.
well,
I'm not saying that, but
it was
but
a
my
few years
bad.
ago.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
it's all right.
okay.
A few gray hairs ago, um, we came and we sat. And for me as a kid, I grew up in church, so we didn't go for a while after we left the first one. And to come back, it was just I was thrilled as a kid. I love church. So once we came, I never stopped coming. My parents moved on and all that stuff. My brother and sister moved on, but I stayed. The only time I left is when I married Lance, Pastor Lance, and he took me to Kentucky for
Oh my
5 years,
goodness, praise the Lord.
and it was great. It was a lot of growth.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
How comfortable was that experience?
Moving to Kentucky,
Yeah.
I was bitter. I moved away from my family. I was an aunt. I wasn't quite a mom yet, but I was really sad. I was really sad, and wasn't. I knew I was prepared for it, but I didn't know what else came along with all that.
Yeah.
And I went from just having Lance. The Lord just really showed me husband and wife. We leaned on each other, and it was so good for our marriage. I can't say Kentucky was a blessing for our marriage. It really was. And we were so young and 21 years old. And oh, goodness, he was in his 20s too, mid 20s.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were just a bunch of kids.
But I'm sensing a theme that's beginning to develop, and I don't look for this. It's just
Mm-hmm.
something that happens because it's the idea of being uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer and I had the same experience in our lives. That when we had Marcus was 3 months old, and the Lord spoke to us to leave here where we were comfortable, to
Wow.
move to Tennessee where we had no family, no friends, no one, and in that moment we looked back, and that happened to us twice. And each time it did, it was the greatest time of growth for us personally and in our relationships.
Yes.
So, if you're out there and you're listening to this, sometimes God makes us uncomfortable so that he can allow the growth to take place in our lives.
And I believe that. I believe that 100%. Moving back, once we decided, we got pregnant with Lanston, and we looked at each other and we said, yeah, we need to go home. It's time to go home. He was a manager at Tractor Supply at the time. And we would look just for fun to see what stores were available around our area, like here back, in South Georgia. Brunswick was never on the list. And when we looked just for fun, Brunswick was open. And the Lord made it possible for him to transfer straight back into Brunswick. And I was 4 months pregnant with Lanston.
Oh, wow.
So if that
Another
wasn't
another
God,
uncomfortable time,
yes, it was.
and a journey of faith it had to be too.
Yes, and it was fun. It was an excitement about it. We were coming back home, and I have to be honest with you, Pastor. When we talked about coming back home, we said, you know what? It's so easy to jump back into things we're comfortable in.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna try new churches. We're gonna see where the Lord takes us.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm being real. I'm just,
I love it. I love it.
and a few weeks we got settled in, and we looked at each other and we both agreed we're gonna go to Bay Harbor this morning. And I have to be honest, we didn't try one other church. We came to Bay Harbor. It was home. And, for the longest time, we've always served in the church, not married, but separately.
Yeah.
And I told Lance, I said, I'm pregnant. You feel more tired. The naps were good. I never enjoy taking a nap during the day until, the Lord's like, slow down here,
Yeah.
take a nap.
Yeah.
So, I said, well, let's try not to get involved. Let's just go sit on the pew. When Pastor John dismisses, we can get up and leave.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. Pastor Bobby came up to us, asked us to volunteer for 12 weeks in the Kidman. And we had been volunteering a while after that until y'all asked them on full time. So the Lord just has different plans. It wasn't my idea, but it's been good.
Yeah. And I'm grateful for that. And I don't remember, I wasn't youth pastor when you came,
No, sir.
but there was a connection that happened sometime along that way, because you talked about you wasn't a mom yet, but you were an aunt.
Yes.
and you were an aunt to more than just your siblings' children.
Hmm.
You were an aunt to many in the church, and an impact on my kids, Ryan in particular, and just
Yes, he's
different
my buddy.
things that God has allowed you. But it's always, to me, seemed like you had that nurturing spirit inside of you. So, what is it like for you being a mom of two small boys? Lance too, but
Yes, yes,
the two boys.
yes. So as they're younger, they're more demanding. Honestly, just when they're in the room, your attention is on them. It's harder to kind of just balance that out, and I'm learning that. But as they get older, they they know when we're going to class, we're going to church, and they get excited. Langston goes, "I'm going to go see my friends,"
Oh
and I
wow.
love that. So they're getting more independent, and I have to say that comes with prayer. And Lord, I need some help because it's exhausting trying to lug them into the door, and they don't want you to leave them.
Yeah.
So as they get older, it's the more fun is coming, and more independency. And Mama, I can fill in for a teacher and
Yeah.
stuff in the junior kids room. So
I can see that in them, just
mhm,
watching and observing them in the interactions that we have. And especially with Lanston, it's just amazing to see.
he's a little Lance right there.
Well, yeah. How old are the boys?
So Lanston's 3 and Grant is 2.
And then with that, challenges. What are some of the challenges that you face raising two children, 3 and under?
Well, potty training is one of them. We're halfway there with Lanston, so it's they're just little demanding little people.
Yeah.
Um, Trying to see what Lance needs help with, taking some of the burden off. The communication sometimes is rigid, to be honest. Because he's got so much going on, and he doesn't want to bring all that home.
Yeah.
And so when I'm like, what can I help you with? What can I help decorate with? Or something like that. Um, Life happens. Before you know it, it's Sunday again. And so they haven't started school yet. So I still consider myself in the easy phase,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So now, we're gonna get personal with this.
Okay.
First of all, do you work an outside job? You see, I framed that very, very good. So
Hmm.
somebody needs to give me applause for that one. Do you work an outside job, or is your full concentration on the kids and your husband and the house and everything else?
Yes, I'm a stay-at-home mom.
And how does that work out?
It's underpaid. There's no vacation time, no paid vacations. Your job never stops.
Yeah.
Lance will come home from work, and I'm still on the clock. I
Yeah.
just, he's so good about helping too. Especially lately, they've been sick, so that's a whole different ball game. Um,
Well, and then this summer, he served at youth camp this summer.
yes,
And with that, here's where I'm wanting to get.
okay,
Um, in all of this, running around, keeping up with the children, doing that, there's some moms that's listening. There's some grandmothers that are listening to this. How do you find time to spend with the Lord?
mm,
And that's a deep one right there,
yes.
because it gets up in there.
Go something else you said through our MIP experience. It was if it's not MIP taking up your time, something else is going to be taking up your time. And so, and to me, that's you need to be intentional, or it's not going to get done. So when I'm driving, that is my time to. Driving is my time to talk to the Lord a lot of without being really interrupted. Um, the boys are on a schedule, so when they go to bed, that is my time also. Either I can wake up before them or I can stay up after they've gone to sleep.
Yeah.
So a routine definitely helps with that. But I'm constantly just praying. Lanston will look at me and go, "Mama, who are you talking to?" And I'm telling him I'm talking to Jesus, and they pray over their dinner. And so I know he's listening, and I say this because um, his prayer was a little long, and I'm like, "Okay, but Grant's hungry. We gotta eat." He goes, "Mama, I talking to Jesus,"
Oof.
and I can't. If that wasn't a conviction,
Ow.
Mama hushed, so I let him finish his prayer. But it's just constantly praying, and I've got to be able to keep them on a routine for me to be on a routine.
Yeah.
So,
So in that,
mhm.
what does your relationship with the Lord look like?
Well, we have real conversations, and some not always so nice. If I'm going to be honest,
From him or from you?
from me, like frustrations, or when you feel like you're still in the same spot, and you're like, Lord, I thought we moved from this. Why do I still have to go through this again? And it's like, it can be, when I struggle, if I can't find the understanding in something, that's very frustrating for me. I like to understand things. So I have a lot of questions for the Lord sometimes, and those are our conversations. And, um, Lance is always a good soundboard to bounce things off of too, because
Yeah.
he's more calm, and he can look at different point of views. And that's what I tend to look from my point of view. And that's not
Wow.
the right way to do it.
Over the course of your life, more than what you've just shared with us during this episode, um, there's been some challenging times, some challenging experiences that you have seen. What has helped you get through that, specifically in
Mm,
your relationship with the Lord? How have you overcome that, and how do you keep a positive outlook and attitude,
mm.
even though you struggle and those
Yes.
struggles are real?
Yes. I definitely struggle. The life groups have helped. And I meet and I get to talk to people that I don't get to talk to because I'm on the other side of the campus. So, and many a times I'm like, Lance, can we just take a break? Do we have to sign up for another group? And I have to be honest, I've said that the last 2 times. And you just want a break. You're tired and stuff. And that's what I want to do. I want to take a break. I want Lance to be home more. But um, I end up joining Truly Free, and the Lord just works on me when I don't think He's working.
Yeah.
And I'll be in my car on the way home, and I'm like, "Wow, Lord, thank you for that." Like this joining this group is, I didn't think I was gonna get anything from it.
Yeah.
So when I was younger, when my family left the church, like I said, I stayed, and that helped me when I was the only one of my family coming to church, and that's the only thing I knew what to do. Mornings I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to go today. Just a kid, a senior in high school, driving myself, and my parents trusted me to no curfew or anything like that. So I came on my own accord, and when I look back at it as an adult, I'm just so thankful for Bay Harbor in my life personally, because if I was just working and not going to church, I can't tell you I'd be standing right here right now.
Wow.
So, if I'm being honest.
And that's what we want, and I know that's what we're gonna get from you. That's what I love about this time, because every conversation I have is just with honest people,
Mhm.
and we're real people here. We're honest people. We're people that don't have a perfect life, haven't lived a perfect life, and I think sometimes that's a misconception about believers of Jesus Christ. And sometimes we're the one that's projected that on ourselves.
Mm.
And but we're not. We're just real people who've gone through things, and yet we still have joy. We're still alive to share the story and talk about what God has done in our lives.
Yes.
And I know that you've experienced that within you. And so I appreciate you coming on and sharing that and being part of that. I consider life groups sometimes. And if you're going to open up the can and just be honest about things, then I'm going to do the same thing.
Okay.
I'm the pastor of the church, and there's times that I feel, man, I just don't know if I want to. I just don't know if I want to do this tonight. I just don't know if I want to go here.
Yeah.
Sunday mornings sometimes,
Yeah.
and I'm the one preaching.
Yeah. Both services.
But it's real. But what I found is that those times, especially like life groups, getting back to that example, that when it's like a workout, I have yet to do a workout that I wasn't glad that I did once I did it.
Yes.
And so sometimes even doing that, I might dread going into it. But every time I get there, the Lord shows up, the Lord moves. And as He does, there's something beneficial. And sometimes it's not what I get,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's what I'm able to impart to somebody else.
Yeah.
So that's what I found in my life with that.
Yep.
You got us kind of being honest with all of this. And so I hope you're enjoying this conversation too. And so as we kind of try to wrap this episode up, what is it that you're passionate about? What is um maybe a verse that stands out? What would you like for people
Mm,
to know about Mary,
okay.
or that you would like to say? And
Mm,
maybe you have a question for me. I don't know what it is, but I'm just giving you the time.
okay. All right.
Oh, Lord help. I mean, go ahead.
I'm a little nervous too. Um, it's in my verse that I love since having kids. And like I said, my vision's just kind of been shifted since having kids. So it's in Joshua, and it's, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And so with the world today and things are kind of thrown in our children's faces, it's it's put a weight on Lance and I to really look at what are we allowing our kids to see inside of our home. We can't really help but outside, but we can definitely protect them as much as we can inside. And so I love that verse in Joshua.
Yeah.
And you know, the Lord has just blessed our marriage, and it's just been a lot sweeter than our dating life, if I'm honest. So I am thankful the Lord has had his hand on Lance and I, and being able to entrust us with these two boys. So as they get older, like I say, I consider ourselves still in the easy times until, they go to school and they start being influenced by friends and teachers and what other people think. I talked to Shannon a few weeks ago, and we talked about, parenting and stuff. And one of the life groups, I was like, you know what? One of the life groups should be called In the Weeds, and just maneuvering through our children, helping our children maneuver through their lives, with the help of biblical sense and verses and the Lord. And so any kind of questions I might have might be coming up in the next few years.
Well, we're gonna be looking for someone to lead a life group like that.
Well,
And
I volunteered Shannon. She was talking to me. She goes, sometimes you're just in the weeds with things, and I said, that's a life group name right there.
yeah, I'm grateful for that. Last question I
Yes,
have for
sir.
you that I know of right now, but is do you think that being parents now is influencing the ministry that you're giving to other children?
Absolutely, absolutely. If before I would let's see, volunteer on the surface. I will say lightly volunteer, be there, be a body, that anything you need, I'm here. Let me go get drinks, snacks, something. Since having kids, it's vital that we do our job as pastors and kids pastors and pray for our children. And a lot that we've been exposed to are autism and kids on the spectrum. And that's another door the Lord's working on Lance and I.
And people may not have any idea exactly what you guys do. And
Right.
let me just stop right here and say thank you. Thank you for what the two of you do. Thank you for what you do. You are often in the corner, not even in the main building. And so people don't often get this or hear from you. And so
Right.
thank you for sharing your heart today. And if I have a takeaway that I would like to share with all of you, it is this: never underestimate how vital it is to connect your children to the house of the Lord,
Mm,
so that the relationship with the Lord could be established.
yes.
Mary, you're not only an example of that in serving over in KidMin, but that is part of your personal story. No matter what happened with your parents, your siblings, there was something inside of you that was grounded right here. And all these
Mm,
years later, here you are, still faithful to the Lord, and might be uncomfortable at times,
yes. Yes.
but you're faithful in serving him, and he's blessing you in your marriage. And I believe he'll do the same thing for you and your family. Thank you so much for being with us during this broadcast. We hope that you'll join us again real soon.